Hello, hello. Welcome to another Charts and Chat. I hope I don't bore anyone, because my takeaway is that I'm actually taking a break on trading, letting the earnings week pass, and I'll find good opportunities. All right. Giving it a couple of minutes for people to join, and then we'll start. All right. I guess it's just you and me. You and me, Cubito. Before you go insane, let's do a little bit of videos, a little bit of Charts and Chat. All right. So let's start. Um, so I have a few perspectives on ES. I think the weight is down, but I'm actually okay with a pop before a drop. That will give us a good short entry. I think the market's not giving good short entries yet. Um, I think a lower high is to be seeking after this, right? I think whenever you look at this consolidation right here, there was no like indication of downside until this candle came in and closed below all this, right? Because this prior candle actually made it about the daily 50 on ES, right? And I'll show you the cash market perspective, because this 50 EMA on the daily is also on SPX, but it's at a different place. I mean, obviously, right? but you'll see the lows of the day being the daily 50 right here. And I seen this a lot of times where the market is kind of compressed between these two areas, which is the daily 50 and the daily 20. This one offers a possible bounce, and this one offers possible rejection, and the market's kind of stuck right there, right? I don't think it's much stuck, right? After having so much sideways action in between right here, ended up being having this. But I'll keep in mind that there's any after this move right here that we have, anything that comes right here could be a higher low, right? So, like I said, I think the path is down on the daily to then possibly on the weekly make a higher low to then go bullish again. It all depends, right? If we look far enough left, the possibilities of this being having a bull flag to then go higher is there, since we're having higher lows on the weekly, but the but this is like I say, looking back to the left, this is so much sideways action, right? If this action had happened somewhere right here where there's not a lot of sideways action on the past year, I think it has more possibilities of doing like I say, a bull flag and don't go higher. But given that it's in the middle of all this, then brings the possibility of those prices to be traded again, and those bring in a full retracement, 100% retracement back to the lows right here. If we go level by level, and I think if we spot short opportunities, we have some good targets to go for on the downside. And I'll show you right here. I have a couple of perspectives. This is a weekly perspective. When you go on ES to the weekly, you'll see that the whole run-up started around 38.40 and end at 41.98, so almost 4,200, right? The weekly perspective will tell you that the possible bounces on the weekly are going to be this, or this right here, right? So I tend to favor on this move a possible 50% retracement, somewhere around right here. So I think ultimately target for it is going to be around 40.20 on ES. But like I said, I still think like even if we end up having a higher low, I mean a pop, that's when you look for the opportunities to short. I think if you had the thesis right that it's going to make a lower high, and let's say that hypothetically speaking, because we don't know, this tomorrow candle is going to be a green one, or not a green one, but something that goes that pops first, takes out goes into prior days highs, about the same days highs right here, and then drops, so that will make a lot of sense in my charts to pop into the daily 20 equal highs right here. We're gonna see something on the hourly, something like that. Where is it? Right here, popping into this 41.16 and then drop, right? So I'm scouting for that. I know that the trend right now on the hourly, if you look at this hourly 20 EMA, that's basically that the place to short. So for this to happen, that one will have to break and change the trend to the upside into 41.16, and then let's go down to the 4-hour. Yeah, so 4-hour meaning the 4-hour 20 right here as well. Daily 20 as well right here. So I'll favor that. I'll favor a pop into a drop right here. We don't know that, right? We could top right here at the daily 50 and then continue ourselves down. So we really don't know when the lower high has been placed until we have some kind of like a green candle in the daily, some kind of retracement push higher, right? But ultimately, the path I think is down to then possibly make a higher low on the weekly. So, like I said, level by level, I think there's opportunity we make right here. It's hard, not gonna lie. It's hard because this prices having trading these prices for the same period for a long period of time makes things very difficult. It's like what just happened right here. For example, so we got that. Let me go down to. I think the possibility of the upside is gonna lay down and looking at NQ. I think We have a classic setup of an inside candle on the daily. I think it's because of some tech earnings were positive. So the Qs managed to stay green for today. Technology managed to stay green for today. And this gives us a possible inside candle, that ends in the middle of the prior candle range right here. So sellers will participate once you take out this low. Buyers will participate when you take out this high. So there'll be a battle in between, and then we'll go from there. I think having lost the daily 20 is already an indication that this is gonna drop. So um, I think that I'm keeping a couple of alerts here because I think that's a good short opportunity. We still have some tech earnings to go. I don't know if it's gonna do it or not. But that would be a nice. Once you break this, you bring out this in question. And in fact, if you go down to the daily, weekly, the daily, I like the daily. This right here, fit perspective from this lows to this highs right here. That brings the targets to the downside into the 32 or even the 50% retracement right here. So NQ, I think like it can make some kind of leg lower into this at least this week. If things go bearish into tomorrow, and then if it makes a bounce or something significant around these levels, then um, I'll be looking for a lower high to then take it into the 50% or so. So that's the perspective on the NQ. It goes in line with the weekly right here, like I said. So we'll see. I have some peers that are looking for upside on the market, so I can rule it out, right? Um, I do see that. I mean, look at the way these candles are closing below all this consolidation. This has a ton of trap buyers. So the further it drops, the more margin calls we're gonna get. Furthermore, whenever we look at different markets, let's look at Russell right now, real quick. Russell went back to the lows again, and I think it's not exactly at the lows, but you can see that it already lost if you were to draw a fib from this high to this high right here, the highs of the highs right here. Like back then, it made a retracement into the possible areas for a bounce, but then now it's having problems making a higher high. Obviously, this is part of the a lot of regional banks are part of this, and be after FRC, we're seeing this downside. Uh, but you know how it is, right? It attempted to bounce around the 618 retracement of this move, but it fell. Today's candle has told us that it fails, and that brings the odds, the possibility to travel back down to the equal lows that we have right here. Again, when that happens. So that's lining bearish on our end. That's lining bearish. I would say the Russell, the small caps, and now let's look at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones, it is in a good place on the daily for a bounce. It held a 50% retracement. It's below the daily EMAs, but it's right there close to the weekly EMAs. And let me see the weekly perspective on the Fibs, because the weekly perspective goes back all the way over here. The weekly perspective will bring us at the weekly 20 into the 32 retracement and everything on the Dow Jones right here. So that, I think, it's not. I'm avoid saying the word that is bullish, but it's the best place for a bounce. So I do see further upside into the Dow Jones, into some of the lows right here, but then possible upside on these levels right here. So that's why I'm keeping myself open to what I think it's a possible drop further down, and then on ES or NQ and all that. So the levels can align, the markets can align to possible bounce areas, and then go higher. So I think the play's still down, after further investigating this. Uh, I don't know in what fashion. We see like today's action had some little bit of rotation into XLP and XLU, but then they fell. No, actually, XLU was. Look at XLU actually shut the bed. That was yesterday. I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. Yesterday, XLU outperformed, and XLP as well, but XLU shut the bed today. So, um, now XLP as well. So, the only one that was green was XLK, but like I said, It's always only to print technology was only to print an inside candle on the Qs. XLK, regardless of it being green or not from prior day close, because this was prior day close, it ends up being higher right here. It's still a two down, two up strat reversal. So breaking this low will bring this lows again. So all the stuff it's kind of lining to the downside, losing the EMAs on the daily, closing below. Like I say, even though it's green, this thing is pretty much you know what people what big traders focus on. It's essentially what the move has had. What is it? They don't care about this number. Like, okay, XLK ended up 1.49% of the day, but what did it do during the day, right? What happened to the buyers intraday? What happened to the sellers intraday? I mean, you started at this point, and then you travel higher, trap some buyers in, try to bounce somewhere right here, and ended up being lower and closing lower than the open. That's bearish, That's bearish, regardless of the move that is green or not. 1.49%. That's bearish. The whole action today was bearish on XLK, and that's the only green right here. SMH is green as well. Ended up as an inside candle as well. So this one I think is gonna offer a good opportunity on either side. I'm gonna favor the downside, but AMD. I'll avoid. Look at MU. Did MU had some news or something? I don't know what happened, but it's back down over here though. It's back down over here, so I don't know what happened with MU. That's probably gonna be a good short. Whatever happened today with MU, I don't know, some news or something. Like I said, there was some green on some semiconductors, but some are very questionable. In fact, there's some things that I will try to avoid. Everybody wants to short Nvidia, and I get it. This was a very bearish candle that did not materialize into anything. Look at this. It's back to the same candle that it had on the prior day above the EMAs. This was such a fake out. So I would avoid shorting Nvidia because of the way it is. It is a two down, two up strat reversal. So breaking this low will bring this low into play. But I don't like when something that is bearish as this does not have continuation to the downside today, right? So there's that. What else? What else? I was gonna try to pull up some setups, but my scanner is not loading today. Everything is stuck. So anything that I find today is gonna be very manual without scanning. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I know some people joined late. There's a video if you guys want to go back to it. But yeah, that's the perspective that I have for ES. So yeah, let's look at the weekly again. So another key point today. This is my chart for SPX, and I'll give you guys a little bit right here of if you look at this indicator, we have a little green bar and a red bar and a black bar right here. This is where the last week closes, and this is the expected move on SPX to the upside, the expected move on SPX to the downside. So as you remember, last week we ended up closing as a doji candle. We didn't reach any of the expected moves, and this week totally different. And we have reached at this point, like the prior candle ended at exactly at the lows of the expected move. That was the lows of the day, the expected move in SPX right here. So options were very efficient right here. Once they cross this level, options are not efficient. Market dealers have sold they have mispriced options at that point. So what happens here is I have these two little boxes right here. This one represents 2 standard deviation moves, and this one represents 1.5 standard deviation moves. I tend to see a lot of the markets stop at either the 1.5 or the 2 standard deviation moves once they breach and close a candle below the expected move. So that if you place the fib perspective we talk about on the daily on on ES, if you look at the 1.5 standard deviation move that we have right here, we also align with the 618 retracement on the daily, and that could be a target. You know that I see confluence right here. So if the market is to go to the downside, this could be a target, which is 4040 on on SPX, and I believe that will be on ES somewhere around. Let me see what this level is. So this low right here ends up being this high right here. No, I'm this high right here. Okay, I'm a little unsure to what the level is. It's because you don't directly subtract the numbers, right? 4055 and this one is 4082. I guess we can subtract if it's only for one day. We gotta make sure we don't subtract it all because there's this skew, you know, that it starts fixing as we move forward in time. 4082 minus. No, what was it close today? Sorry. 4082.75 minus the close today was 6.25. 4076.5. So minus 4055. 4056. That's 20 points. So 4040. Okay, so that would be 4060. So this so it will be this level right here. So SPX at 1.5 standard deviations moves will bring us to the weekly perspective 38.2 retracement at 4060, which if you look at the weekly, it makes sense, right? So if we end up having that 1.5 standard deviation moves, 4060 ES will be the level to target to the downside. That will be my level, I guess. That's my perspective. Yeah, I don't know if you guys agree or not. We can agree to disagree, but that's all I got. Any questions or any suggestions or any setups that you want me to look at? Now's the time. And if not, I think I'll move forward. I think that's it. I have a Tesla trade that I'm looking at. You know, Tesla can, after all these candles, you know, I know it's extended to the downside. I know you're not at the best place to short this name, but if this thing starts sliding, keep sliding. I'm sorry, if it keeps sliding, we're gonna be looking at this gap fill right here between this level and this right here, which is the low. The gap is 146.50 or so. So I'm looking at that for a possible trade. Other than that, I'm not looking at anything else, and that's about it. KG says, where do you think Meta will land after today's after hours? I tend to stay away from earning stuff, you know, at the first day, and then I just give it a few days. I know it's 236 right now, highs. You know, this is, and I'll tell you why it's a little bit tricky right here, KG. It's a little bit tricky because if you go back to this is the after hours levels right here. If you go back, let's say let's give us 3 years. Okay, let's give us 3 years. So Meta is exactly topping right here at this highs. That makes a lot of sense. Now, I think it's dangerous to think that, oh, it's a huge gap and I want to short it and everything is good and dandy. Like, I want to take this name, oh, it's at the highs. I'm pretty sure it's going to fill the gap all the way over here. That would be great, right? It's actually, that would be super great, you know? Imagine your gains But now imagine that you thought about this candle the same way. Yeah, you thought about, look at this gap right here. It wasn't even earnings, right? You thought about this candle the same thing. So those earnings gaps are always very very tricky. There's a certain type of breed that trades those gaps, and I think when you plug in any picks that you have right here, like let's say this high right here, this one right here, this one right here, I think that we could have a daily candle that goes in between this high and right here. If things go bearish on Meta, that it starts selling, let's say it opens around right here, because I think yeah, that opens around right here. I don't know if it'll go back over here. That will be a good place to stop. If you spot that this thing is going to the upside, that will be a good place to take profits. And if you spot that this is going to the downside, this will be a 224. Would be a good spot to take profits on the downside. I highly doubt that this one does a full gap fill on the first day. So that will be my two perspectives. You're sitting around. What is the current price? I'm just gonna put a purple line at the current price right here. Purple. Right here. So current price is right here. Yeah, this looks like a good target for the upside, and this looks like a good target to the downside. Other than that, I'm using this level in between as well. Other than that, I don't think that. I mean, I'll probably stay away, and I think there's a lot more other trades to take. No problem, KG. No problem. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. All right. I think I'm gonna end it right here. Um, let's see. Wow. Neither gold is holding. Gold looks like it can be a nice short. All right. I'll see you later, KG. And I appreciate you coming in here. Take care, my man. Have a good rest of your night. No problem, man. Good night.